What's up, friends? It's James Powell, and I am here with former NFL football player, author, speaker, inspirationalist, incredible humanitarian, and my favorite quality about this man is he is an authentic man of God.
Sam Acho here. I'm so glad to be with you all.
Okay, so every person watching this, it doesn't matter who they are, like mom, dad, husband, wife, leader, employee, everybody, I think on some root level, man, they struggle with that. Everybody wants to be affirmed. Not everybody is at the place I think that they can admit it yet. They'll give you all the qualifiers of like, I don't need affirmation. But I think everybody is looking for not just acceptance, but approval, affirmation. So how do we, like, man, you're at the height of that. You're experiencing all the affirmation. You're experiencing the affirmation financially, fan base, family, friend group, and you said, hey, that seems stripped away, but that was so good for me and God. So how did you redirect that energy?
Yeah. I mean, Lecrae has a song, he says, in one of his songs, he says, if you live for their acceptance, you'll die from their rejection. And so long I was living for the acceptance. I was living for the approval of a coach or a fan or a teammate. And when I didn't get it, I felt empty.
Yeah.
And it was driving me nuts, dude. Like I remember, I thought I was balling. I thought I'm playing well, week one, 2017, like I dominated. We played the Atlanta Falcons. They had just been in the Super Bowl. They had just lost, and I'm like killing dominating. And all of a sudden, the game managers are like, "Man, Sam, great job." My coaches, great job. The teammates, man, you ball, keep it up, right? Great job. The fans, man, I showed it great. I'm like, yeah. Well, week two, I'm like, okay, I want more. I want more of the claps and more of the great jobs. So instead of me keeping my assignment, I decided, because there play hurt us in the C gap, balls on the D gap, play hurt us in the C gap. It wasn't my responsibility, but I felt like it was, and people were looking at me like it was. So the next time they ran the play, instead of me staying where I was supposed to stay, I said, let me go be the hero. So instead of me doing my job, bumped my responsibility to go be the hero, they bounced out to the D gap and get an 11-yard gain. Sam's out the game. I'm like, but they make mistakes too. I was trying to. Sam's out the game, because what am I known for? I'm known for doing the job, being responsible, reliable. Right? I get back in the game. I said, okay, now I'm going to really make up for what I messed up. So instead of me once again doing my job, and they had these quick screens where the quarterback will get it, offensive lineman will kind of go down for a little bit and run right out. The quarterback will get it and throw it real quick.
Right.
Our job as a defensive end, if you read it, is you retrace. As in, don't go run to get the quarterback. You're not going to get a sack. Don't try. You're not going to get an interception. As soon as you see the offensive lineman go, you go and you retrace. Do your job. And I knew that, but I wanted the affirmation. I wanted to be a hero. So I said, let me make up for it. I messed up, right? Let me do that. And I boom. I see the play, but I'm like, I'm gonna get an interception. So I jump up as high as I can. The ball inches over my hands. The guy catches it, 15-yard gain. Acho, what are you doing? I was trying to make a play. Well, I went from the hero in a lot of ways to a zero in a lot of ways, and I got benched. And I'm like, but all the other guys make mistakes too. How come I'm the one getting benched? Right?
Wow.
All of a sudden, the same coach that was like, boy, we love you. I'm not. Now all of a sudden, he's looking down. Hey man, Willie, great job on there. Hey John, I love what you did. Hey, Bill, keep it up, man. You're gonna. And I'm like, what? Who am I? And so it was in that season where God said, it's not about them, it's about me, His approval. And so I started praying, started fasting, started really God, help, just help. Help. I don't know what else to do. And so He taught me how to get my affirmation from Him after plays. I wouldn't go look at the sideline. I would just say a quick little prayer. Like, God, what'd you think? And I would just, it was almost like this feeling like, great job.
You learned to redirect the affirmation.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I love, man, the picture you give about I stopped being consistent in doing my job. I stopped living into my purpose, my calling. I started running in somebody else's lane to get that affirmation, that acceptance. We all do that, man. We all do it. Listen, pastors do it, leaders do it, husbands, we all do it. In families and relationships, why do we see people begin to look outside the relationship? Because they're looking for affirmation, approval, acceptance. And so I go, man, what we got to do is redirect it to God. Like what I'm hearing from you, redirect it to God and go, hey, I'm going to live for Him. I'm going to receive that affirmation from Him. If I get it over here, great, but that's not my main source. That's powerful.
Yeah, and it starts to matter less. You can still get it from the outside, but it doesn't matter anymore. So like that season of life, when I got benched from hero to zero, I learned to hear God's voice. And so instead of me chasing the approval, I was chasing God.
That's good.
And it'd be like, great job, keep it up, it's even getting better.
I was talking to a guy last night, and we were talking about he's wired. I don't know if you do Enneagram stuff.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so he's a 3 on the Enneagram, which is achiever.
Yeah.
So he has to be winning at something.
Yeah.
He said, "Man, 2020 wrecked me. How do you win in 2020?" And I'm listening to you, and I'm going, "Hey, what would have been a very difficult season, you turned into a win. If you could have done anything different through 2020, through this crazy season we've lived through, if you were able to do it over, what would you do different?"
Cherish the moments. I would cherish the moments. Man, God is crazy, dude. Like, so February, I just finished with Tampa Bay. I was a free agent. They said they were going to sign me back, so I didn't know what was going on. But I said, I'm not tripping. But I wanted to go back to Chicago because I'd lived in Chicago for some years. I felt like God was doing stuff there. I wanted to go back to Chicago. And so I felt like the Lord was like, hey, you got to go back to Chicago. We had just lost, a loved one. My wife has a twin brother, and his wife was murdered like a few months before. And so we were like, man, do we need to go be with them? Like, what do we need to do? So we spent a little bit of time with them, but I really feel like God was like, you need to go back to Chicago. Like, all right, cool. So we went back to Chicago and like got the kids in school because it was pre-COVID.
Right.
Kids in school. My wife was kind of doing her thing, had the gym and her stuff that she was doing. I had a place I was working out and training in the off season. Everything was perfect.
Right.
Perfect. And I kind of felt this whisper like, and I was doing a podcast with some friends who lived in Arizona, so I kind of travel there once a week, whatever. And I just felt like the Lord was like, I need you to go to Arizona. And I'm like, God, this is perfect. Like, got a house. Like, I had just bought this house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Had a house, at the school, got the gym, and I was like, you need to go to Arizona. I'm like, bro, why am I going to Arizona? And we like put the house on the market because we were thinking about renting it out. And so somebody was going to move in early March. And I felt like the Lord was like, hey, once they move in, you got to go. It's like, okay, what the heck? Like, is this God? Is this me? Like, what is going on?
Right.
And so I remember we had this NFL trip. I work with NFL Players Association, so we had this trip at early March in Florida.
Wow.
So I said, okay, we're gonna go to that trip. I left, people moved into the house. I went to that trip, and there were rumblings of COVID stuff, but it was like, I don't know what these people are talking about, like rumors and wearing masks. What are we talking about? And the 7 or 8 days we were on that trip, by the time we got there, the time we left, everything had changed.
Wow.
And I told my wife, I was like, hey, I feel like we need to go to Arizona. And she's like, oh, by the way, my wife is from Nigeria as well.
Okay.
We were trying to apply for her U.S. citizenship, and she had just got approved to become a U.S. citizen. And her swearing in ceremony was like the week that we got back.
Wow.
But I was like, I just really feel like God wants us to go to Arizona. She's like, I'm about to become a citizen.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know how to explain it. I just, and she's like, how about this? Okay, I'm with you, but let's go back. Let me get my citizenship. It's on, like, we got back on like a Friday or a Thursday. The citizenship was the next week, Monday, and then we can leave.
Right.
I'm like, okay, cool. So we get back on that Thursday, and all of a sudden, Friday, Saturday, Chicago shuts down. Remember, LA, Chicago, and New York were the 3 cities shuts down.
Right.
So now school's closed. Oh, yeah, mind you, we're in a hotel because of people moving to our house, right? School's closed. Gym is shut down. Where I was working out was shut down. Restaurants, everything, and we were staying in a hotel.
Right.
And by the way, her appointment for citizenship from the government, the U.S. United States Citizen and Immigration Services, the government got canceled.
Wow.
And so we went to Arizona. Because I wanted to train and all the things. So went to Arizona, found an Airbnb, trained there, and did the podcast with my friends. We did it virtually because it was COVID. And it just really felt like it was, like I enjoyed it, but I kind of miss it. You know what I mean? Because it was just me, my wife, and our kids, and the Lord.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, it was really good times. I'd go outside and we would run and we would train, and we were still trying to figure out what's going on, and Arizona hadn't shut down yet. And I don't know. I wish I want to, even now, I want to embrace the moments.
Yeah.
I don't want to forget about the moments, like embracing loved ones, friends, family. Those are the things I think that matter, even in COVID or even outside of COVID.
You know what's crazy? I think the reason I didn't embrace the moments and cherish them, because I look back, I'm like, man, I had all the family time.
Yeah.
All the things we all say,
Yeah.
you get to the end of your life that are regrets. We had the opportunity to really embrace it, but the reason I didn't, honestly, is because I was afraid of what the outcome was going to be. I didn't know. If I could have trusted God's faithfulness and be like, hey, God's been faithful. He's taking care of us. Like, if I could have let go of fear in that season, I could have cherished some moments a lot better.
Yeah, that's how I feel like too, man. Because I'm like, I wasn't afraid. I just didn't know.
Right.
And even take COVID out of it. Like, that's how I felt anytime I've been a free agent, even for a couple weeks. Like, I wasn't really afraid. I knew God was going to work it out. I just didn't know.
Yeah.
And a lot of me just wants to know. Like, even now.
Right.
Even now, we've been living in Chicago, and with COVID and everything, we want to be closer to home. So we were kind of planning on moving to Dallas. My family grew up in Dallas. My sisters are out there. My mom and dad are out there. So we're kind of planning on moving to Dallas. But now there are opportunities to do stuff like on TV, and that could be anywhere, right? Sportscasting, broadcasting, I'm doing that, and it's been fun, and like that could be anywhere.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, God, but I thought we were going to Dallas. I've been moving the last 5 years with football.
Right.
And so it's like, dude, open-handed. Do you trust me?
I think that's key. You know, one of the questions I was going to ask you is, what would you say to leaders right now? And I feel like you just said it, which was open-handed.
Yeah.
Like, how can we practically do that in this next season? How can we practically go, okay, I'm going to be open-handed and trust? Like, you're making big moves. You're talking about, hey, I may move to Dallas. I may move to the West Coast. How do you actually walk through that and be open-handed with God?
I think we'd have to realize that it was never ours to begin with.
Yeah.
I think so often, and even me included, it's like, okay, well, it's my wife and my kids and my job and my money. And I just really, like, it's not mine. Like, the money God gave me, yes, it's mine to steward.
Steward of it, yeah.
But it's not mine. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. So it's not mine. It's my wife. Well, okay, it's God's daughter.
Come on.
I had to like change the name of her in my phone because I'm like, yes, my wife, you know what I mean? And it's like, no, I've actually literally put God's daughter.
Come on.
It's not mine. Kids, yeah, they're my kids. I got to get them. It's like, dude, these are a gift from God. The Bible says children are a gift from God.
Gift from the Lord, yeah, come on.
Gift from the Lord. So they're not mine.
That's it.
Mine to steward, but they're not mine. Oh, this money, right? Or power or influence. It's not mine.
Wow.
Even people that we work with, I'm like, okay, people who I work with, I'm like, okay, God, like, how do I honor them well? How do I, like, this is your daughter, this is your child, period.
Yeah.
So I think if we see things that way, kids, relationship, job, it's not ours in the first place.
So it reminds me of like when I was younger. I didn't have a car for a minute, but I was able to drive. It was my dad's car. And I remember it would be like, hey, can I? Like, it's like, what do you want? Can I do this? I was more asking permission and guidance before I just took it. Now, when I got my own car, I just jumped in and drove wherever I wanted, whenever I wanted. I love what you're saying as far as the ownership really belongs to him.
Yeah.
Okay, what would you say? There's a next generation of leaders coming up. The truth is, we're getting on the old end, which feels weird. I've always thought like we're the next generation, but now there's a whole nother generation of leaders coming up.
Yeah.
What would you say to them? If you could say one thing, you say,
ooh,
this is it.
Get to know Jesus.
Come on.
Period. Like, I think we're kind of done with the days of like, let me start over. Influence is being thrown around, like some water balloons. You know what I mean? Like, it's just everywhere.
Yeah.
And so if you have it, steward it. And how do you steward it well? Like, get to know Jesus. Like, even in my book, So Let the World See You, right? That's a book that I wrote, How to Be Real in a World Full of Fakes. The whole message of the book is, I'll tell the story. So 2018, I remember I'm sitting down with my friend and he says, hey, like, I'm worried about what happens when you retire. Right. And he says that and I start to cry. Like, and this guy had never seen me. Like, this guy helped me start businesses, whatever. He never seen me cry. And he said, he looked at me like as I'm in my tears. Cause I'm like, dude, I'm struggling, and I'm tired. And he's like, I'm worried about you. I start to cry. He says, hey, it's nice to see you.
Dude.
And I'm like, huh? I'm like, what? Like, he said, it's nice to see you. He said, it's good to know that you're human. I'm like, what is this dude talking about? He said, dude, like, he said, who knows? Like, God may be writing a book in your life, and you may only be on chapter 2, is what he said.
That's good.
I'm like, bro, you know what I've been through? What do you mean chapter 2? You know, and he actually recommended I go talk to a counselor, like a therapist. And so I did. And like literally the night we're supposed to report to training camp, I was in a therapist's office that morning. And I go to the dude's office and I'm thinking, I'm a performer. Check the box, I'm an achiever. I go in and like one of the first questions, he looks at me and says, Sam, what do you do when you get angry? I'm like, well, that's easy. I just try not to get angry. He said, come on, man. Like, what do you do when you get angry? And I just say, I try not to get angry.
Right.
He said, Sam, everybody gets angry. So what do you do when you get angry? And I started to cry. He comes up close to me, puts his hand on my shoulder. He says, I need you to breathe. And it wasn't like a drip cry. It was like,
right.
I was carrying a lot.
Yeah.
He said, I'm going to put my hand on your stomach. I need you to breathe. I'm like, he looks at me and he says, it's nice to see you, Sam.
Wow.
He said, oh, by the way, get used to hearing that. He recommended I start like listening to music. He said, I don't know if you listen to music, start writing. So I started writing. And I went to training camp the next day, right? Or that night.
Yeah.
Had our team meeting. I go to the hotel room, get my journal out, listen to music. And now I'm writing and tears are coming. Like, what is going on? I'm like listening to like songs about God's love for me. Like, why does God love me like this? I don't get it. I called my friend, and when he told me, I'm like, dude, what is going on? He's like, dude, like, God's with you. You're okay. Go to sleep, wake up, go to our first practice, do a conditioning test, like a couple, 1,500-yard sprints. I finish, get back to the locker room, and like a lot of the guys say, taking showers and going to go get some food. I just sat there. Just sat there. And I think I was just processing a lot. And I think I'd been carrying a lot. And I hadn't really let anybody see it. And now all of a sudden people are starting to see it. And I was trying to decide, who do I let in and who do I keep out?
The filter, yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and one of my teammates sees me. His name is Nick Williams. He just got signed to the team. He looks at me, sees me sitting down there. A lot of guys had already left by that point. He says, hey, Ach, you good? Decision, right?
Yeah, you go say, yeah, man, I'm good.
Bingo. Or it's like, oh, I'm just tired, whatever. This time I looked at him, I said, you know what, I'm not. I said, I'm not. He said, you got to let that out. Whatever's going on inside, you need to let it out. And so I kind of like looked to my left, looked to my right. Now in the locker room, I start to cry. Tears starting to flow, and one of my other teammates, his name is Danny Trevathan, he sees me. He walks inside and he goes straight to the speaker. Usually we got we got 2 Chainz playing or like some country music or whatever. He changes the music, and it happens to be all of the songs I was listening to the night before. Songs about God's love for me.
Look at God.
Look at God.
Come on.
Songs about his kindness. Songs about like by Marvin Sapp, like he saw the best in me. When everyone else around never would have made it.
Come on.
On the thing. And I start to cry even more.
Yeah, man.
And Danny comes and sits next to me and he says, hey, Ach, it's nice to see you. Nice to see you. And so to the next generation of leaders, I would tell them, number 1, get to know Jesus. But number 2, that you are worth getting to know. See, I never believed that. I didn't believe I was worth it. I thought I had to be like pent up and put together and pretty and all the things. And it was like, no, you're worth getting to know the real you. I'd go on that season. That was a year I would tear my pec. I was the starter, lost my starting spot. We traded for Khalil Mack, who's a perennial Pro Bowler. My wife, we had our 3rd child. My wife had complications. Didn't know what was going to happen during the pregnancy. This is all I spent like 2 or 3 weeks. Didn't know what was going to happen. By God's grace, baby was okay. Mom had to go do another surgery after this surgery. C-section. I had to do another one after that within 12 hours. Wow. I'm crying out to God, what is going on? Come back from that, like I said, lose my starting spot. Come back from that, I tear my pec, out for the season. Come back from that, and one of my friends, my mentor, he is getting ready. He has cancer, and it's not getting better. And I asked him, he's a 75-year-old dude. I said, hey man, because he said, hey, I'm ready to go home.
Yeah.
I'm ready to see Jesus. And I say, dude, give me what you got. Like, give me something. I need something. And he tells me, he says, the most important thing you can do on this earth, like I'm telling the next generation, he says, number one, get to know Jesus. And number two, Sam, you are worth getting to know. And so, like, my message is to that next generation, you're worth getting to know. Not the, slick back, looking pretty, tone and shape, makeup. No, the real you you're actually worth getting to know. Like, I actually want to know you, and people actually want to know you. Not social media, not the follows, not any of that, but Jesus wants to see you and wants to know you. So stop hiding. Adam hid. Moses hid. A lot of people hid. And God continually sought them out. God is seeking after you. And so I would say, get to know Jesus, and you're worth getting to know.
Sam Acho, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that's like, I could ask you a million more questions, but I think we all wrestle with that. And we say, hey, I'm going to get to know Jesus, and I'm worth getting to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.